to speak on Nigeria's anti-corruption fight is founder and chairman, Governing Council, Chartered Institute of Forensics and Certified Fraud Investigators of Nigeria, Dr. Ilyasu Gashinbaki. Glad to have you join us, Ilyasu.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. All right. Well, from what I just read now, Yusuf Gagdi is saying that emerging realities has necessitated this amendment. What are these emerging realities?
First of all, let me congratulate all Nigerians for the delisting of Nigeria from the grey list. It's actually a victory for law enforcement, a victory also for the financial services sector, and even generally other businesses in Nigeria, because being classified in the grey list presupposes serious monitoring, and which undermines free financial flows, increased due diligence. It's not a good place to be. So this is good progress for Nigeria.
You said, I think you talked about law, but before I get there,
yes,
to what extent would this amendment go in giving corruption what one could call a bloody nose?
First of all, what that means, the amendment in the National Assembly.
Yeah, I mean, if they get down and eventually get to work this amendment out.
Okay.
How far or to what extent?
This is one of the most profound steps.
No, I'm talking about the EFCC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ever taken by the National Assembly. The EFCC Act was passed by the 4th National Assembly. And today we have the 10th. So we have successive legislative arm of government 6 times across the span of 21 years from 2004 that have not been able to do this singular thing of securing the security of tenure for the EFCC chair or for even the ICPC and the others. And the challenge with that is that it exposes the EFCC to so much political interference.
What do you mean securing their tenure? They don't have, I mean, like the annex that has 5 years.
The EFCC chair can be removed by the president at will without any
recourse to the National Assembly.
Yes.
Unlike
yes.
the annex chairman.
Yes. So now the 2 houses of the National Assembly, the House of Reps and the Senate, must pass 2/3 majority vote to remove the EFCC chair upon recommendation by the president that he doesn't want him to be there. So I think this will be one of the consequential reforms to the act. In addition to that, the bill also presupposes modernization of the EFCC itself. Far back as 2004, 21 years from now, you realize that we have other financial and economic crimes that were unknown to the EFCC Act, cryptocurrency, other money laundering issues that has emerged over the years. So all these modifications will now be codified into the new Economic and Financial Crimes Commission amended legislation. So I think it is something that Nigerians should push for. And let me also say this. We should not leave this to either the EFCC or the law enforcement to push this agenda. And the reason is this. One of the reasons why it has not happened within the past 21 years is because the EFCC cannot on its own push for this agenda.
Yeah.
Why? Because it will be perceived by the executive that, the EFCC chair now want to be independent.
You know, you
Yeah.
have raised a very serious issue,
Yes.
which is, let me leave I'll come back to the third question,
Yes.
and I'll come back to the FATF
Yes.
later if I have time.
Yes.
But let me address this question that you have just raised now. The question of, they talked about institutional framework. I mean, the question of institutional framework
Yes.
being a key.
Yes.
It was mentioned as one of the reasons for this amendment.
Yes.
Now, why are our institutions in Nigeria subject to the whims and caprices of those in authority? I mean, that's what you're leading to. How can we change this? It's not just the EFCC.
Yes.
How can we begin to change this so that you don't have them kowtowing or being at the behest or, how do you say it? You know, like I said, like you said earlier, the president can just wake up one day and decide, you know,
that the EFCC chair should go.
Yeah.
But with that legislation eventually passed into law, what that means is that the 2/3 of majority of the National Assembly must also agree to that recommendations.
Can't we begin to work out a system where the president doesn't appoint? Can we begin to work out that kind of system?
Well, if you do that, you tamper with the principles of separations of powers. So I think what needs to be done is just, this is the first crucial step to make sure that we bring in the National Assembly into the picture. But more than all of this is that once you have the legal frameworks in place, you need to also make sure to have the institutional enforcement of the legal framework. I will give you an example. You have seen the instances where we have delayed cases, especially high-profile cases of criminal cases that has taken years and years and years. Yeah. But in the new administration of Criminal Justice Act, it is clearly written there, without any ambiguity, that criminal cases should be disposed between 180 days. An adjournment should not be more than 5.
Okay.
But who is following that?
That's the question. And that's
so, again, we need to make sure that the laws are not just written for the sake of law. We need to follow them to the letter.
Let's get back to, I want to talk about the gaps the House of Reps mentioned concerning EFCC.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the FATF list.
Yes.
This means, from what I have read, that Nigeria will no longer be in the mirror of global financial institutions. In other words, Nigeria will not be monitored any longer?
No. What that means is that Nigeria has significantly shown compliance. There are 2 types of lists. There is the black list. And once you are in the black list, there is what we call call to action. Call to action signifies that you can be sanctioned, tried by courts. So many things can happen when you are in the blacklist. So Nigeria, in this, every year, 3 times, the Financial Task Force on money laundering meet 3 times to review the list, those in the blacklist and in the gray list. When you are in the gray list, it means serious concern. So in this October...
so gray is worse than black?
No. Black is worse than gray.
Okay.
Serious monitoring is what is required in the gray list. That means you will be monitored if you are in the gray list. But when you are in the black list, it's call to action. So that will result to sanctions, trade by court, and all sorts of serious monitoring, grave consequences. Countries like South Korea, Iran, and Myanmar, they are in the blacklist. Now, in this October, 4 countries were taken off: Nigeria, South Africa, Burkina Faso, and Mozambique.
The question is, will they still be monitored?
They will still be monitored because in the FATF list, there are about 40 recommendations.
What does Nigeria need to do to improve on this, not to sleep on this, so they won't go back to the gray list?
First, to sustain the current institutional reforms that are happening. Secondly, is to make sure that the 40 recommendations as provided in the ATF list, we strictly adhere to those recommendations. which covers things like policy coordination, mutual, international cooperation, beneficial ownership, terrorist financing, the anti-money policies and reforms that are associated.
Ilyasu, have we really got it right with terrorist financing? Because I was discussing with a security analyst yesterday, and I was asking him a question.
Yes.
You see this terrorist,
yes,
the kind of weapons that they have. And I was asking the question,
yes,
who is financing these people? Can we deal with that?
Yes, that is why the 40 recommendations, if we are able to comply with them to the latter, from the point of enforcement and following, we will deal with it. Because the FATF itself is there to tackle three things. One, anti-money laundering. Second is countering terrorist financing. And then third, weapons proliferations.
Yeah.
Now, the bloodline of all this is the flow of capital.
Yeah.
So what do? You track and trace. Because if you are able to track and trace financing to terrorists, financings for weapons, and then laundering of dirty money, you can significantly curtail this.
Yep.
And it covers both financial institutions and then what we call designated non-financial businesses and professions.
I wish I had more time to discuss with you on all this more, but that's the time we can take, and we can't take any other time. I mean, I was going to discuss with you the gaps concerning EFCC amendment, but it's all right. The founder and chairman, Governing Council, Chartered Institute of Forensics and Certified Fraud Investigators of Nigeria, Dr. Ilyasu Gashinbaki, thank you for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right.